there to protect or to help their clubs as well. You know, they don't want to take the players on the 6th because there would be 4 days less where they wouldn't be able to be with their clubs. So lots of negotiations went on, but moving forward, yes, these are the players with many others that hopefully will put their hands up and say, look, we want to be part of the situation, and we are the best talent in the country. So it's up to them now to go out there and show us, and let's see what we can do there.
Sure, Coach Jamba here from SABC. I'm not sure whether I'm going to ask the same question that he did. I did not hear exactly what he said, but I also wanted to know if this, the short period, the changing of players at the short period of time, does it not deal with your preparations going into the match? And also that there has been, FIFA has acted on Ethiopia and got them 3 points. What does that say to us as South Africa? Thank you.
Okay, to answer your first question, preparations at the moment with the national team have always been very difficult. You know, whether you're playing in and this was, for example, the African Cup of Nations, where the players maybe for 3 weeks, sometimes some clubs had the players for 3 months before the African Cup of Nations. But little games like this or games like these are giving the players 3 days before. And there are a lot of new players in the side. So everything that we've been working on and doing before the last year with a bit of continuity with more or less the same players, the change here and the change there has been quite easy because we continuity. So we just go to the next step and the next step and the next step. This group of players is a completely new group of players. So they're starting from scratch really. But as I say, it's an opportunity for them now, and preparations are always difficult when you get 3 days before a game, you know, and also the fact that we don't know who we're going to be playing the first game against. Because when you prepare a team, you don't just prepare the team to play nobody, you prepare them to play against a certain opposition. So we only know that opposition a little bit later. But as I say, it's not something that I'm too concerned about. Now these guys are very talented, and as I say, we'll go out there and put up I think a good performance, and it's a great opportunity for these players. To answer your second question, I think that first of all, I think the decision of Ethiopia losing the 3 points was something that everybody expected. Their own admission that they did feel the player that was eligible to play. So it's just a great situation for us, a great opportunity for us now to still have a little sneaker there to qualify for the World Cup. You know, since I've been in charge of the national team, unfortunately, it's been a situation that must-win situation every single game, you know, due to the circumstances of the situation that I joined. But and this is no different. We've got to go against Botswana, we've got to beat them, and whatever happens, we've got no control over in the next game. But of course, there's a bit of hope now. You know, if Ethiopia draw or lose to CAR, that means we've got a great opportunity to beat Botswana and go into that group of 10 teams in the last hurdle to qualify for the World Cup. So of course, whenever there's a bit of hope, it's always something that you can hang on to and say, well, there's a lot more importance in this game now than there would have been.
Coach Melanie from Levels and Sport. I just wanted to know, you have a core squad already that you've been using throughout AFCON and all the FIFA qualifying matches. Now, if any of these young stars are actually going to shine at the COSAFA Cup, are they going to be eligible to be in the Bafana squad for future, or are you gearing them up for the World Cup in 2018, etc.?
Melanie, let me first answer you by saying that every single player in this country has got a chance to play for the national team. And unfortunately, the situation for me was I was brought in a very late stage, a couple of weeks before the AFCON. So it wasn't a situation, it's such a huge tournament hosted at home, that you go out there and just try out some youngsters and see how things are going. You know, one gets given a mandate and the expectations are very high, and you've got to go sometimes to try and test it. You know, you've got to try and change things around and change their mindset and the way they play. And there were so many obstacles in the way before the tournament even started. I think we overcame those obstacles and those hurdles, and now we're looking forward. We're looking forward to 2015 African Cup of Nations. We're looking forward to the World Cup 2018. And as I said, these are the players. And you know, I know for many years in South African football, a lot of people have done a lot of talking about how we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this, but they never do it. I think that we are going to stick to the master plan. And our master plan is to develop our young players, and they need opportunities, they need to play. And I'm really hoping, because we've got some great players in our country that are at the age of 28 and 29 now, and they deserve to be in the national team, there's no doubt about that. But they're not going to be there for 2018. They're going to be 36 and 37 come 2018. So we've got to think ahead, we've got to plan ahead, and we've got to prepare our young players. And the way we're on track now, people aren't going to see right now, because it's not a match you want that you can wave and say, right, but we're going to stick to this rigorously. We're going to make sure that these guys are given the opportunity. And I hope that these players do put their hand up and rise to the occasion. I've got no doubt that there's as I said, the majority of these players, and also not only these players, but a lot of players that haven't caught up due to not being able to be released. So I think it's quite exciting now, because when you get into a situation where you have to win the AFCON, have to get to a situation, you can't just say, well, okay, fine, we're in the last 2 minutes, going out there and putting these young guys into a situation where they're not ready yet. Unfortunately, in South Africa, what I think of players of 23 and 24, these are the youngsters of African football, and that's because of what's happened in the past. These players in 3 years' time are not going to be 24, they're going to be 19 and 18 years of age. Some of these players, Hamal Dian's only been found in the last year or something. Where was he when he was 17? Where was he when he was 15? Why didn't we find him when he was 15? Why did we only find him when he was 23? And, it's a young team, but in reality, it's not really that young, because some of the players are 23 and 24. All these players who are 23 and 24 should be 18 and 19 in reality for us to have a real opportunity. But we have to start somewhere. So what's happened in the past has happened. We're not going to fall into that. We've identified the areas where we feel that we let ourselves down. We've identified it, we've sat down, we've discussed it, and we know the way forward, and we've got a plan. And the plan is to make sure that this never happens again in our football. Because to be a powerhouse in football in South Africa, to beat up the Spains and the Brazils and whoever, we need to do what we're doing right now. And we're on the right track. Only time will tell where we're going to end up.
For Season John Davison, who's entertained. Okay. Who's captaining your team, and secondly, thank you. And secondly, what is there in place to see that that whatever happened last year, it was a bit of an ugly spent that the eventual region. I don't know how else to talk then. I don't know how else to talk, but how can we avoid
you can hear me from the audience. How can we avoid that ugly splats from last week? What is in place to make sure that there is a bit of coordination between the PSL and SAFA? And secondly, who's captaining your team?
Okay, first of all, I only finalised the squad about 2 hours ago, so I haven't given the captaincy much thought. Obviously, I will announce the captains of the side, but I've got to now apply my mind in the situation. As I say, the last 5 days have been hectic. You don't pick a side and the captain first say, we need to be captain of the side. It's a very, very young side. Obviously, will be one of the experienced players to take the team up there. Secondly, the second question, ugly spat. I don't think it's the right word to use. I don't think it was ugly spat. It was a communication and probably a misunderstanding in some way. And that's been sorted. It's been under control. Everything's good. As I said, the players from the very first interview that I did, I made it very clear that the players would be able to release to withdraw their players, and some of them have done that, and there's no problem with that.
Good afternoon. It's Mzaki at the Citizen. Your predecessors have made, like Barrera, they usually unearth players like Gatla Hompila through the COSAFA. I don't know what's the content of the master plan. I'm sure there's maybe scouting there. Didn't you consider maybe looking at players from the National First Division, and just to avoid all this thing about players being released and all? And lastly, last time you said Tabanteta was the captain. Is he out now? Thanks.
Yeah, Tabo Tito's out. He's right. I mentioned that already. The players that are out are my team, Toro, Signani, Shabalala, Parker, Bangaman, Tete, Erasmus, and Williams. Those are the players that are out. And what's the second question? Back at Beverly. I'm just wondering if what the Cosmos is playing. Because we've got one here from Nononyani, from Cosmos. He's in the Beverly. You know what? Like I've said before, it doesn't matter to me if a player is playing in the Better League or playing in a championship somewhere. We have to, and you know what, it's all very exciting at the moment, but we can't give you page by page by page of our master plan, but it isn't in place. And we are starting now with the coaches, as far as getting the top coaches in for our youth teams. We've got scouts, we've got people in certain areas. We want to identify our talent, because our talent is not only in Johannesburg or Cape Town or Durban or Bloemfontein. It's all over. Some of the rural areas will find a player. And we need to stretch our wings as far as possible, have the people in place to do this. And we're on a mission. We're on a mission at the moment. And the mission is to identify and find these players. And whether you find a player that's playing in an amateur league somewhere, and someone identifies him, you have a look at him, this player will become a South African player and play for a club somewhere and get recognition and hopefully all compete for a place in the Bafana team. The door is not only open to Premier League players.
Coach, based on what you say, and in hindsight of the chief chairman having come out yesterday and say he's never really guaranteed that his players would be allowed to come to the squad, wouldn't you say, I mean, you know what the likes of Yeye and Shabalala and Bernard Parker can give you, wouldn't you say that in hindsight from the start, you should have tried maybe to pick the younger players, to give them that chance and get them into the big competition so they get to know what that is like. The likes of Shaba have played the AFCON, they've played the World Cup, and you're not really going to see anything you haven't seen from them by taking them to the COSAFA.
Okay, first of all, let me just remind you that this is the South African senior national team, Bafana Bafana. Okay, and it's our responsibility to go out there and play and win things. That is our responsibility. We have development teams, we have under 17s, we have under 20, we have under 23 teams. And what's also very important is to get the balance right. You know, it's easy to sit on that side of the bench and say, well, why don't you just put in these players? Then we should have said it's under 23 competition, set it under 23 team. We need to have continuity. When these young players are coming into the side and play next to players like Shabalala, play next to players like Yeye, they're going to gain experience and learn things from them. This is our senior national team, not an under 23 team. So this tournament is for senior national teams. And there's no room for comments in the result column. The rest of the world sit back and watch and say, oh, that was the South African senior national team player that lost to Mauritius 3-1. They're not going to say, oh, but they used the under 20 team. And that's a predicament that we find ourselves in. We need to get the balance right. We need to win things. We need to be proud of our team for the rest of the world to take notice. We need to come right in the rankings. You know, it's very easy for me to sit back and say, oh, it's easy route out for me. Let's put it under 20 team, and if we lose, okay, it's under 20 team. It's not okay. It's not okay. Because the rest of the world don't care. There's no room for comments in the result column. The result will read South Africa, senior national team 0, Mauritius 3. Oh, but we had our under 17s and we're trying things out and we're trying. They're not interested in all that nonsense. They're interested in what was the score? What was the score? That's your national team. It wasn't under 20 tournament. So it's very difficult to get the balance right. And to have 10 or 11 of our young players mixed with some 10 of our senior players, the balance is right. We can go out there and win. We can have the younger players learning from the senior players, the feeling they get of playing next to Shabalala, playing next to Yeye, playing next to this one, playing next to one. They get the feeling of being in the senior national team. They don't get the feeling of playing for under 20 team. And that's important. And in 2 months' time, we're playing against Botswana. We need to have continuity. We need to keep these guys and have continuity. So these are the reasons why you can't just throw in a whole lot and say, with hindsight, shouldn't you have done that? If I had to pick the team again, it was a 3-4 weekend, I'll pick the team that I picked in the beginning. Because I need to have that continuity, and I need to have that winning feeling. We need to build on things. And then slowly, it doesn't happen overnight. This is not going to happen overnight. And sometimes our biggest mistakes we make, we expect to see the changes like that. It's a long process. It's a long process. Slowly, 10 players come in. Slowly, another one comes in. Slowly. That's how it works. Not just throw them in and sit back and say, because in the day, everybody's going to be shouting, yeah, get rid of the coach, he's useless. Get rid of this one, he's no good. South African football, we can't even win a game. We can't even beat these people. It's a tough job, this, and I think you know that. But, you know, I don't mind all those things, but we know where we're going, we know what we're doing, and that's how I'm going to do it. And we need to mix it right and get it right and want to win things. You can't just go out there and participate. You're not doing this for the sake of being there. You know, we've got to do our development in the right places. Not when we play against Brazil or playing against Argentina. We're going to go out there and compete.
Coach Zata again from our Witness News. With the other clubs that also decided not to release their players, what will they do?
Yeah, look, I think I really stated this again, is, you know, no club needs to justify
could be because they signed 3 years later, it could be because they got a new coach, at least to get to know their players. It could be a lot of reasons. It could be because they feel the players are too tired, they might be scared to play like it. I didn't ask anything why don't you play, but they don't have to justify. This is not a people weekend. And that's why I say this. The relationship that I had with the team, the discussions I had with them, we played the 9 players, I had 9 new players. Of those 9 new players, you have to go through the same procedure again. No, I got this player to go. That one can't, but you can take this one. I'm happy with that one. You can happy with this one. And there was a negotiation. So I've got no problem, and to be honest with you, I don't really want to know the reason why a player wasn't released, because I respect the decisions that the clubs pay the players their salaries. There's going to be a lot of FIFA weekends coming up where the players will have to be called and they will have to be released. So, it works both ways, and it's a 2-way street, not a 1-way street. So I'm quite happy with the relationship, the way it's gone, the negotiation that took place, and I've got no problem with the players that I didn't want to know. If this closer to me, you can't have that player, I'm not going to say why. I don't have to ask me why. I can't have the player because of the fact that it's not a people weekend. So we've got to respect that. We need to respect that.
Do you have any more questions? No. Just in closing, Minister,
names again, withdrawals, Defoma Shamaite, Eric Matoho, David Solonyane, CPO Chamala Ganapaka, Defoma Neman, Agwen Tete, Kameda Rasmus, and Ronald Williams. Those are coming in Musa Binakulu, Mushem Kwanasi, Lance Davids, Sibusisa Msomi, Lerato Shabaguru, Sibusisa Kumalo, Leshonoro Nonyani, Siabonga Twala, and Siabonga Mboja. And with that, we've come to